Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Rajniti. Rajniti yani politics. Politics तो उतार चढ़ाव तो आते ही रहते हैं. So today the Labour manifesto came out. A lot has happened today politically. So we have lots of questions in our minds, and I'm sure you do, to discuss various topics that are sort of brewing in your mind with the coming general elections. We have a very honored, esteemed, and beloved guest in our studio today, Virendra Sharma ji. Virendra Sharma ji has been an MP for Ealing Southall since 2007. His work has been exemplary. We are lucky to have him here today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, sir. We have so many questions for you. Lots is going on in politics. So I'm going to start with the first question that will take us on an interesting journey. Virendra ji, your journey with politics has been quite exciting, and I'm sure you have lots of stories to share with us. So we're going to ask the tricky questions later. But first, sir, there's always an assumption that when you're in politics, you are privileged and you come from a background where you've had it easy and it's just been a simple, sweet ride.
First, thank you very much for having me tonight here, especially when we had a manifesto launch. Elections are coming, and very soon on 12th of December. But having me here to share my journey as well as the future for not only for me and my family, but for the whole society, how we see it. I arrived here from India, from a small village called Mandali, and came to Hanwell in West London and started working as a bus conductor. That was my first job in Britain. And I carried on doing it, moved to underground, but got involved in the trade union movement. And later, after holding many positions in trade unions, I was lucky enough to receive a scholarship from the TUC to go for further studies to LSE. So I would say that it was hard work, still hard work, carried on, but started with a very humble life. I always say that when people come to me and say, look, my grandfather came with 3 pounds in his pocket, I always say that I never had a single penny in my pocket. I came empty, but I settled and adjusted, got married, and now I'm a grandfather with 3 grandchildren, Atish, Shriya, and Jaden, and I working for the community in the UK.
So, sir, it's interesting that, you've worked hard to get to this position, and life has obviously taken interesting turns and twists lately. Without sort of too many questions, but I guess it's time to ask that relevant question. Recently, you had to experience the uncomfortable situation of the vote of no confidence. It's not obviously something that we want to straight right into it, but most people will say, "Kya hua? Kyun? Considering आपने इतना काम किया है." So tell us what happened and clear the air.
I think that we are living in a democratic system. Party politics is there. I joined the Labour Party July 1974 and continuously 25 years plus as a councillor, now 12 years plus as a member of parliament. But there's always divisions within the parties, whether it's conservative, Labour, Liberal. In my local constituency party, there were some members who was ambitious to become candidates. They thought that I'm there for so long, they need to replace me. Some ideologically did not see me fit into their own ideas, and they brought it. There's no confidence. But I still believe in democracy. I still believe that they had a right to challenge me. But I'm still disappointed the way some individual members has projected that. It is given the impression as an individual to me, targeting as an individual rather than a honest way of uh, taking the party line and going through the party structures to challenge. Otherwise, I'm not worried on that. I'm now the candidate with the new, whatever the rules party has followed. It was the National Executive Committee felt strongly that I should be the candidate.
Yes, they overruled it.
They said that whatever happened at the local level was not acceptable to the National Committee.
So the question I have for you is, was it within the Labour Party itself that you found people that were envious or were plotting, or was it external people that caused this unrest?
No, it was internal. It was internal within the Labour Party, the members of the Labour Party, as there was a clear division between them and me. I use it for the simple explanation that some individuals thought that I'm not the best candidate. When the public, local organizations, community organizations, and within the Labour Party, the most longest serving members of the Labour Party raised this question that a person who took over the local constituency, gone to the majority of nearly 22,000 plus,
Yes.
and the treatment they tried to give me, I still believe that they had the right, but the way they went, I think it was most unpleasant.
Yes, looking at the facts and figures in front of me here, you had in 2017 a majority of 48.9%. So clearly, you've been loved by the constituents. You've made that difference. But coming back to their question, that they said, oh, you attended only 32 debates. To clarify the air, and so that people who might have any concerns, can you for once and for all just allay their concerns and tell us what was that?
I think for your viewers, I wanted to make it absolutely clear that I'm a member of parliament. We are overseeing our activities, the way we vote, when we vote, taking part in debates is generally controlled by the whips. I had no complaint from my whip. I only voted against the wishes of the whip once. So it means that where the system where I should be responding and performing, they were all happy. But again, it is the local level who sometimes have the different point of view. They wanted to see how they can control it, or they wanted to see their representative the way they want him or her to perform. I don't think that any questions on me was on my credibility for the Labour Party, my performance within the communities, locally, nationally, and internationally. I have gone through, for the nearly 47 years of my political career in Britain, gone through where I had the people responding to me, and I was responding to the people's needs and the demands.
So the question I have, or it's interesting that you're probably one of the oldest serving members of parliament in terms of the ethnic minority, or
I think that I'm the one of those very few who have been, maybe not in the parliament the longest serving, but 12 years plus, but in the British politics, I'm the one of the oldest who started the career in politics very young, in my young age, but elected position for nearly
12 years.
12 years as parliamentarian, 25 years as a local councillor.
Councillor.
So these are 37 years. In Ealing South Hall, I'm the longest serving elected member. But I mean, how you rate it is an issue. And it's not only the length of service, my association with the local community. I still travel by buses, I walk on the streets, socially, politically, and important occasions which I think I need to be present, I'm always there.
Yes.
So I don't see that I only do it for my political benefits. I think there is a life after politics, so you need to build up those links.
It's
That once
relationships.
you are not there, holding a position, are the people still likes you or not? And I feel proud. And through your medium, I wanted to thank all those people who has given me the support for so many years. And I look forward to serving and representing them in the parliament again.
So you said, you travel by buses and you meet the public on a regular basis. Having served at the Home Office and on the Treasury teams, in terms of the crime, the normal welfare of society, in your constituency, do you see any difference?
I mean, again, the whole environment is different now. If you look at knife crime, it's not only it's a major issue in front of to keeping law and order. The police, all the political parties, governments are concerned about it. As a grandfather myself, I'm concerned about it. That because I got the young grandchildren and I wanted their life to be safe and they feel safe, as well as the children of other people as well. So I'm concerned on that.
Yeah, burglary is a big issue.
Again, all these issues are concerned to everybody. I'm not taking it party line on that. Every political party have that concern. Every individual, those who believe in a peaceful society, who wants to have a safe environment for their families and for their grandchildren or children, they are concerned about it. Burglaries, petty crime, knife crime, you name it, pickpockets in the central London areas, begging on the streets. So there's a differences of
But
criminal activities taking place, and we should be concerned about it.
yeah, so here's the thing. We have to ask you a question as someone who has served the community for such a long time. Say, for instance, there is a person who lives in your constituency, and there are a group of people that have been suffering from a burglary. Can they reach to you and can they say to you, well, can you help us? Is there a way for you to convey their concerns to the Metropolitan Police, or it's not something that the MP sort of takes on his plate?
No, I think that an active or proactive member of parliament or any elected member should know what is happening in his agencies, and I'm quite aware of that. I have a regular meeting with the police commander, local police, neighborhood police. I do hold meetings with them. I do discuss those issues that which are concerned to the people. Sometimes you don't get what you want to get. That's where I will be little bit political, that in the last 9-10 years, the present government has made reductions in the police force. In my own constituencies, with the reorganizations of the police force, they have closed down the 2 police stations. I'm fighting against that. I will be fighting to bring those back, to bring them back into the community, because people don't feel safe when they don't see the policemen around or policewomen. They don't see the police stations open where they can go and report the crime. This new system, which is you can go on the computer and make a complaint, and this is the number you can ring. I think that as a first generation myself, I don't think that the people are ready for that change yet. What happened that in the last few years, it was so fast change brought in, rather than preparing the people to take with you.
So what you're suggesting is that yes, do introduce new systems, but you want to at least keep the stations in place so that the members of your community feel safer. Coming to the members of the community and their welfare, health is a big discussion topic. A part of the Labour manifesto discusses NHS cuts, and they want to actually get rid of, that issue and say, no, we're going to introduce 40 billion into the NHS and all of that. Do you sort of think that that's a realistic approach towards spending?
If you look at our manifesto and you read and listen to the statements uh, by our senior leaders like John McDonnell, Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell as a shadow chancellor and the future chancellor, then every single penny in the our costing is there.
But
We
we're
have
talking about a 4-day working week.
no. That's where how you, I'm saying with respect to you, that how the media, print media, journalists, they project it. That is, will take more than 10 to 15 years before we could introduce it.
Right.
That is a eventual possibility of
So it's not
introduction. It's not that, now remember, when there's a change of government, it will not be changes comes overnight. One thing I wanted to make clear to everybody, that if there will be the changes, how we run the future government once we come in power, how we introduce, how we bring the changes. We wanted to bring the changes with the taking people with us. We wanted to bring the more police force. We recruit more police officers so that we can reopen those police stations. The police Bobby is seen on the street. People have the confidence back that they can go, there's a police officer in the uniform, I can go and talk to him or her. They can go and report to the nearest police station rather than they have to go miles. I don't believe that the system where you go on the, if I have to report, then I have to wait for my grandchildren to come home so that they can open the computer and do it. Not every elderly person who was not used to this system in the past, not have learned that system, will have a difficulty. So we need to educate people. Maybe my grandchildren will feel comfortable sitting at home, open the computer and say, next door had the burglary today, and on behalf of them, they report it. I don't have. I still believe going to the local police stations, talking to the police officers there, and report the things I think I need to report. I don't want to go 20 miles to report it. That's why the services need to be on your doorstep so the people feel comfortable. Otherwise, if you don't win the confidence of the people, then you are actually demoralizing the whole society.
But again, coming back to the question of the welfare, so I agree. Of course, police stations are very important. They need to be there. I think that's a very relevant point. But in terms of the NHS, you have some really good hospitals in your constituency. Has there been an improvement? Do you see that in your next term?
Yeah.
If you came in,
Yeah.
will you be able to introduce changes that will improve the society? Considering Brexit, we're not going to get that many staff from abroad. Do you think that things will change, or spending money is the only way forward?
To build the society, you need to have the proper resource and the investments. I was fighting along with my colleagues and friends, local constituents, Save Ealing Hospital. I contributed in that debate, in that campaign. I led the campaign at sometimes, but others locally was actively taking it forward to stop the threat of closing Ealing Hospital.
And have you been successful?
We were successful, where eventually they had to come back. The government has to come back to say, look, there will be no closure. A and E will be stayed as it is. But we are still fighting for other services which were taken out of Ealing Hospital to bring it back, like maternity unit. We need to bring it back to the local areas. We are working with the system in partnership, but we need, once we have the Labour government, I'm quite confident we will bring back the services to the local community. You mentioned Brexit. Brexit has nothing to do with all these services to be given. We need to look at where the shortage is. There's a shortage of people not getting training in the medical. We have the shortage of the doctors, nurses, and other staff. That's why we recruit them from overseas. But we need to have the both hand in hand. Where we get the people from overseas to work in these fields, but we need to train the people here so that we don't have to be dependent upon all the time the immigrant workforce from the outside Britain. So we need to work that so that we create that training resource here. We encourage the children going to schools and the universities here to go into those fields as well. Unless you encourage them, unless the resource is there, unless they see the opportunities.
Immigrants coming to work when we need them.
No, what I'm saying is that can we afford without trained workforce from overseas at this present? That's why there's a shortage of doctors, nurses. If we don't recruit them from here, if we don't train them in the UK, because there's a shortage of training places in Britain, that's why there are not many children could get into that field. So to compensate that, we need to help. That's what I'm more worried about, that unless we create that environment where we have in-house workforce to work in these areas, we will have the shortage.
Okay, we're going to keep that thought in mind, especially the Brexit discussion. Yeah. Friends, we're going to go for a short break. After the break, we're going to talk about various other topics that are very pertinent to the current climate. So, see you after the short break.
The hottest new data offer of the year is with Leica Mobile. Now you can get a phone-busting 40 gigabytes of data with UK Plan Mega, plus unlimited minutes and texts, and 100 international minutes for just £20 when you buy online. Valid for 30 days and EU roaming included. This amazing offer is available for both new and existing customers when purchased at leicamobile.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply. Leica Mobile.
Happy feet, even at 30,000 feet. Enjoy more leg room. Enjoy Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Amazing feel, amazing features.
दया तेरी जिन पर होती उनके घर में जलती ज्योति कि माँ का शेर प्यारा हो माँ का लाल प्यारा ये दर का अजब नजारा ऊंची बोल जकारा हो जरा प्रेम से बोलो हाँ रल मिल बोलो हो जरा जोर से बोलो जय माँ बोल जय माँ बोल.
Every problem has a solution. अगर आप फैमिली प्रॉब्लम, नौकरी, पैसा, एजुकेशन या लग्न संबंधित इश्यू से परेशान हैं, तो पंडित जी का फौरन संपर्क करें. India's most spiritual astrologer, healer and psychic, Pandit Tulsi Prasad. To book an appointment, call now 74591-06474 और मुसीबतों से हमेशा के लिए छुटकारा पाइए.
सत्संग की आधी घड़ी तप के वर्ष हजार तो भी बराबर है नहीं, कहे कबीर विचार. देखिए, सभी पवित्र धर्मों के पवित्र शास्त्रों व ग्रंथों के आधार पर जगत गुरु तत्वदर्शी संत रामपाल जी महाराज द्वारा अद्वितीय आध्यात्मिक सत्संग प्रवचन का विशेष प्रसारण।
Welcome back. You've tuned into Rajniti on MATV. We are with Virendra Sharma ji, our MP for, yes, I know you'll tell me December 12th, that's when the changes are going to happen. But of course, he has served Southall and Ealing for a very long time. So we've have him here in our studio today, and he's discussing some important topics with us. So, Virendra ji, before the break, we discussed very briefly Brexit. My question to you would be, what is your view? I know in the 2017 sort of debates, your view was quite passionate not to leave, and your party, obviously. But as we're approaching the 31st January deadline, are you still sort of on that mode, or have you sort of kind of want to break the status quo?
No, I think that I'm totally committed to remain. That's my personal belief. But and I always voted against anything which takes us out of Europe. I still believe that for Britain and British people, the remain is the best way forward. But at the initial referendum in 2016, when I voted against the and campaigned for remain, I still feel that when the people of Britain decided to leave Europe, then we need to honor that. If you look at the development of leaving or Brexit, both previous prime ministers and the present prime minister failed to take the parliament with them. So,
but without causing too much upheaval here, we are at a point where the people have voted. Do you not think, your personal opinion, of course, do you not think that now we just all need to work together to deal with what is the public's decision?
we don't say that. I fully agree with my party line. That is, bring that deal. Once it is not through the parliament, take it to the people.
So a second.
We are asking, take it to the people, but give them the option of remain. Because the deal you are bringing is not acceptable to anybody. But one section of the deal is acceptable to me, the other is not acceptable to you. So it means that let the public to decide, but when we put the ballot paper before them, we then give them the option, if you don't agree with the deal, then do you still want to remain in Europe? What we are giving the commitment that we will negotiate a deal with our European partners, bring it back to the people of Britain, asking them that if you agree with this deal, vote yes. If you disagree with the deal, do you still want us to remain in Europe? So we're giving the option back. We are not against the deal with the Europe, but we wanted the people, ordinary voter of Britain, to approve that deal rather than some few individuals deciding it.
All right. The last sort of point that I'd like to make, £4 billion have been spent on the Brexit decision. Do you think it's still worth it? I mean, do you not think that Jeremy Corbyn could be a little bit more realistic and say, well, the decision has been made by the public and it's got to be done? If there was cooperation, UK's economy would improve. There's no point spending more, right?
I mean, this is not our failure. It's a government failure. Government failed to understand the mood of the public, and they wasted that much money at the time. If they had taken our point of view to go back to the people, we have never said that don't make a deal. We are saying bring a deal, take it to the people. and let them decide it, because we disagree with you. And it's a failure of the government, not a failure of the opposition.
Okay, I mean, on this matter, we don't want to sort of go on forever. I guess we're at a status quo. And I guess what needs to be done will be done by 31st of January, hopefully. 2020 will be a new year for UK in terms of politics, hopefully. Coming back to sometimes politics and the dirtiness of it, there is the good bits, of course, where you're able to serve the community, but there are times when the matter of articles come in which are difficult. So the Article 370 and the Kashmir issue. Labour stance has been troubling a lot of the Indian community in UK. What is your stand on this matter?
I think that we need to be very open, realistic, rather than focus on something which is not directly affecting us in Britain. I totally reject the motion brought to the conference. I have said it. It is all documented. I wrote on that, and I think leadership's involvement means that Jeremy Corbyn or other my colleagues in the parliament getting involved in this matter was a mistake.
You said that categorically.
I said it categorically. I said it, and everybody is aware of that. I said internal matter
Bilateral issue.
Of India. It's nothing to do with outside India to anybody. India is a democratic country. Let the Indian people to decide whether removal of Article 370 was wrong or right. That is a democratic decision taken by the Indian government. And when the elections takes place in India, the people will be campaigning that it was a wrong, others will be justifying what they have done. It will be the Indian people will be deciding. People living outside India have nothing to do with it. Unless you don't believe in democracy, India is a democratic country, and let them sort out their own problems.
So, not putting you on the spot, but we have to look at people that within the Labour Party, there is an air that we feel on behalf of the listeners, the viewers, and obviously it is our strong belief that the Labour Party has been allowing members of Parliament like Yasmin Qureshi to get 8 people together, pass a motion, and she actually has made this tweet, which I will read out to the audiences if they haven't. Humiliating Kashmir is a part of Modi's plan to remake India. Do you not feel that Jeremy Corbyn should have actually stopped an MP of his party to make such terrible remarks about a country that she has nothing to do with?
I'm saying with respect to all your viewers and the people who are campaigning on this issue. We are living in a democratic country. We are not living in a dictatorship. We are not living that people have no right to speak their mind. I disagree with Yasmin Qureshi.
So, yes, that is good to hear.
I disagree with, that's my democratic right. This is my right of freedom of speech. They also have a freedom of speech. If we trying to stop them, it means that we are taking their rights away from them. It is up to us to fight against within the Labour Party when something going wrong. Same thing, it is up to the other political parties internally. One thing I wanted to make sure, I hope that your viewers knows that anti-India, that kind of sentiments are not only expressed by the Labour MPs. There are many Tory MPs who also have the same view, and they have expressed that. Read the Hansard in the parliament. They are also as anti-India, pro-Kashmir, pro-other peoples which we differ with. So it is not the monopoly of one political party or others. It's a political decisions individual MPs has taken. It's a freedom of speech in a democratic system. The whole Kashmir issue, and I'm saying that openly, I'm quite happy to talk to all those people who are campaigning on that. It is the Tory front motion. It is the Tory front campaign. The people who are leading this campaign are the many active Tory party members. Wait a minute, let me finish that. Secondly, if it is true, I hope it's not true, that as some people are advocating that Indian government is behind it. I don't believe it. But this is a general perception that this campaign is fully supported by the Indian government. Then I'm disappointed. People of BJP and the Indian government have to make it absolutely clear, unless they lose their credibility. Indian government has to come out openly to say it, that we are not behind anti-labor campaign.
No, I mean,
No. That is what is the perception.
The perception is what we are discussing here is not about any anti-India or pro-India for the sake of it. We're not taking away anybody's rights to make an opinion. What we are asking you, what we're trying to say to you is that today, if India had an issue and a bunch of, Labour MPs or Conservative MPs formed a group and passed a motion against India, the other way around, that you would not accept.
No.
So what the issue is, if Yasmin Qureshi had herself gone and said, okay, this is my view, she's entitled. But to gather people and start sort of banding it about, I mean, you've met Modi ji, and you're a passionate, supporter of India and Indian causes. So you would have noticed that kind of an air, but there is no sort of pro-conservative, anti-labor air.
It is. Who is leading the campaign will justify and decide what idea is behind. When Qureshi brought it, when I say we, myself, Keith Vaz, many other friends, Barry Gardner, we immediately wrote and condemned that motion. We immediately said, this is a wrong move within the political party.
That is gratifying to hear.
That's why I'm saying we also have a right to tell them, look, this is not your right to interfere in the decision-making processes of other democratic country. That's what I'm arguing.
Correct.
I'm saying that India is a democratic country. We have no right to interfere in the workings and the constitutional amendments of that country. It's the Indian people have to decide it. So we need to look at the human rights, we look at everything, we can comment on it, we have the different point of views where we disagree and sometimes we agree. There are many colleagues on the conservative benches, I agree with them on issues. We work together. On Kashmir issue, Bob Blackman, myself, Barry Gardner, Gareth Thomas, we all work together. Steve Pound from Ealing North, previous MP. We all work together above the party line. But we work together to make good humanitarian issues, keeping peace. But our main priorities are the people of Britain. We are the British Member of Parliament. We are not Pakistanis and Indian MPs.
Correct.
We are the British Member of Parliament. We should focus on that. That's what I'm saying. But at the same time, every Member of Parliament have a right. They can speak their mind. And when we disagree, we argue. When we say we fight against it, it's not physical fight. We argue with each other. I disagree with Yasmin Qureshi. I disagreed with the motion. But I still feel they have their right to express their views. We have our rights to express our views.
Okay. It's quite interesting and it's quite nice to know that Sharma ji is being so positive and he is actually condemning people when they make the wrong decisions. It is a good thing that Labour and their team are probably have some people in there who are supporting bilateral issues to be dealt with those countries. We will come back after a short break and
But I
just
must correct here one thing. They are telling us that we are wrong. When we're taking that you should not be interfering, they think we are wrong. So anyway, in a democracy, we have our individual views, but agree to differ with each other.
yes. I'm assuming that you are agreeing to differ with certain members of your party.
Yeah.
Your view is your personal view, but as your constituents who will be listening to you today, they will feel at least relieved that you're being honest and upfront with us, and it's actually heartwarming to understand that we have certain supporters that actually believe that that's India's decision, they'll deal with it. After the short break, we will come back and talk some more to Sharmaji. Thank you very much.
The hottest new data offer of the year is with Leica Mobile. Now you can get a phone-busting 40 gigabytes of data with UK Plan Mega, plus unlimited minutes and texts and 100 international minutes for just £20 when you buy online. Valid for 30 days and EU roaming included. This amazing offer is available for both new and existing customers when purchased at leicamobile.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply. Leica Mobile.
Happy feet, even at 30,000 feet. Enjoy more legroom. Enjoy Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Amazing feel, amazing features.
Are you struggling with debts, personal loans, credit cards, store cards, HMRC tax? We at Acme Credit Consultants are here to help, offer a range of financial solutions, debt management plans, individual voluntary arrangement, and bankruptcy. Contact us on 0203 318 0990 and visit us on www.acmecredit.co.uk.
Every problem has a solution. अगर आप फैमिली प्रॉब्लम, नौकरी, पैसा, एजुकेशन या लग्न संबंधित इश्यू से परेशान हैं, तो पंडित जी का फौरन संपर्क करें. India's most spiritual astrologer, healer and psychic, Pandit Tulsi Prasad. To book an appointment, call now 74591-06474 और मुसीबतों से हमेशा के लिए छुटकारा पाइए.
The news has spread in the village that there is a meal being provided in the school, and so more children have started showing up in the school.
No child in this world should ever be deprived of education because of hunger.
My name is Mallikarjun Honnamnor. My name is Megha. I want to become nurse, engineer, doctor. I want to become teacher,
Soldier.
lawyer. I want to become police.
ಅಕ್ಷಯ ಪಾತ್ರೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಊಟ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ನಂಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಮತ್ತೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪೌಷ್ಟಿಕಾಂಶವನ್ನ ನೀವು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ತರಕಾರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಷ್ಟು ತರಕಾರಿ ಕಾಳುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ.
Feeding a hungry child and seeing that the child gets educated is not charity. It's the social responsibility of everyone who is doing well in this world.
You're watching Rajniti with Darshini Joshi and Virendra Sharma ji. We are discussing several topics that actually touch you, your sentiments, your feelings, and genuinely, politics is such a large topic. It's so short to finish within the hour. So I've got so many questions for you, Virendraji. So I'm going to continue from our last conversation. We discussed Kashmir, and obviously you said that it was a bilateral issue, and your sentiments were it's to do with India, their decision, their choice. Um, Coming back to the event that happened on the 15th of August at the Indian High Commission, that has upset a lot of your constituents, a lot of the people in Harrow, Wembley, Brent, and all of those boroughs, because they were there. And there were riots, frozen bottles were thrown at them. Have you shared your thoughts with people that were in charge?
I have, soon after that, first, we all, including the Mayor of London, has condemned that action by agitators. When we always say that people were going there to celebrate India's independence and others were going there to agitate against India. I have written to the Mayor of London, I have written to the Police Commissioner, I have written to the Prime Minister of the country and the Home Secretary, which is Priti Patel. So we all taken that action. We are all concerned, and in a democratic country where they have a right to protest, but they had no right to throwing the bottles or trying to destroy the environment, which was very friendly and peaceful, and people were in a celebrating mood with the young children. So we all condemn it, and hopefully that this will not be repeated in the future. People have, and the system have learned their lesson. When there was another attempt afterwards, the police took very precautionary steps at that time. So I think that that will not be repeated. And if ever it happens, we should all come together to not only to condemn it, to find the ways to stop it.
Solution. So good. I mean, this is where we want to move forward, solutions. Obviously, as a grandparent, education has been a very important thing to you. Now tell us, the Labour government at the moment has some strong views on education. You've been the governor of some schools. You've had active interest in education. You've sort of talked about lifelong learning. You know, you've talked about smaller class sizes. But then again, when the Labour government says we want to get rid of grammar schools, we want to get rid of private schools to some extent, or make them, you know, lesser. What are your views? South Asians, they love their private schools.
I think that it's how you see it. I believe in that every child should be given an opportunity to have the best education. My grandchildren and both my children, my son and daughter, they went to the comprehensive schools. I never believed in that they will be more successful in their education if they go to the private school. I think that the schools and the system have a responsibility to make sure that every child gets the opportunity to have the access to the best education. If we can provide everybody, rather than creating the elite and them and us, a division in the at the young age, that will be dangerous, that will be divisive. That's our belief. I'm not saying that people don't have their own views. I think that the government has to give opportunities to everybody, equal, access equal, access to the universities equal. They should be given an opportunity to contribute equally. But at the same time, if you wanted to have the private education to your children, it's your responsibility. You take it on. Then the system should not be in somehow contribute into that.
No, but that's where the issue is. With the Labour government, there is a constant need to get rid of private schools, get rid of grammar schools, and we're actually at a point where, you know, you mentioned earlier that it's a people's right to choose education for themselves.
Mm.
But I'm sure you might sort of agree with me at this point a little bit. But okay.
No,
Obviously,
if you look at, we are living in a society where we want the future generations to work together. If you trying to give that there's a divisive system where comprehensive schools are no good, only the private schools, what we are trying to say that is that we create that environment which is the private schools and the grammar schools are given.
but everybody should be given a choice, right?
The choice will be there, but they will not get the double advantages. They have the private school, but also same time getting the benefit from the government.
No, obviously, a person that is making a decision is not going to send a child on the basis of their income just for the sake of it. But I was listening to a program this afternoon on the radio, and again, there was this whole discussion about the taxes and the cuts, and from bringing it from the tax from 45% to 50%. And what I feel as if, and I don't know what your thoughts are, that's what I'm asking you. Don't you think that the Labour government is sort of forcing people that are doing well to stop wanting to do well?
No. This is not true. This is
50%.
again, it's the propaganda for by those people who wanted to go and try to discredit the Labour Party's policies on education, on other issues as well. I can say very clearly that Labour government and the Labour Party policies are not anti-people. They wanted to create an environment where every person have the equal right to achieve and participate in the society equally. It is not elite and non-elite. We do not want to create that divisive society. We wanted to bring the people together. That is where the investments will go. That rather than people going to private schools, they should be encouraged to come to the comprehensive school, and comprehensive schools should be small sizes, good accommodation, good teachers there, so that they can also have the same access to the education which in the elite, those people who are better off financially or can afford to pay extra fee to get their children better education. We are saying every child should have a better education.
Yes, as I see, a part of what you're saying you will do for your community. You talk about smaller class sizes, you talk about free schools. But my question to you was obviously moving away from schools and education, correct? Fine. I hope people get the choice.
They will have the choice, but they will not have the
luxury
that they where the parents given the extra, which is at present sometimes happens, that the parents are given extra credits, extra tax benefits because they're paying for it, for their children's education. Where the poor children who cannot go to the private school, we wanted to create the comprehensive schools so that they have the equal what the private schools are providing. The comprehensive schools are also providing the same, where the children from the poor families can also have the access to the education system.
Okay, so we've sort of discussed various topics, whether it is healthcare, whether it is education, we discussed Brexit. Now, the importance of a couple of other topics which are relevant to you and your community are obviously to do with the environment. You're very passionate about the environment. In your constituency of South Hall, share with us some of the things, initiatives that you've started to develop the area.
Look, climate change is a major threat to the whole world. Everybody is concerned, everybody is working on it. What I'm trying to do is that where I'm trying to encourage my constituents to do more tree plantings, go around to clean environment, making sure that people are aware of the threats of climate change. I'm going to host an event in my constituency very soon. I think it's the beginning of January, where we will be trying to educate the local
So
communities.
your event in January is to do with
Climate awareness on the climate changes happening and how they can participate and contribute into it. So it is awareness is most important, because climate change is the major threat. Environmental issues are generally street cleaning, making sure that there's no such air which can cause problems, air quality, good environment, contributing towards the stopping the climate change. So there's many issues on the environment which we are taking part in the local community, but at the same time, we are also making sure that it's not only left to the local communities, it's a wider partnership with other communities in the other areas as well, so that it's a world movement to stop that kind of environment.
You mentioned here in your statement about things that you've planned, that you plan to fit 1.75 million solar panels to social and low-income houses. How is that going to be implemented if you come back into
it's with the help of the central government. We will work with the encourage the government to give resources to the local authorities, so local authorities can work with the local households so that they can be given. It's a partnership. It's a partnership between the government, local authority, and the people itself. You cannot achieve unless you have the partnership with the local people. Local people need to understand. Then they need to understand that how they can participate, and then they can work with the system to have that benefit for the rest of the people.
You've also, I noticed, you started a drive for coping with the litter and the fly tipping. Has that been successful?
We are trying our best, and that's where I'm saying it is a partnership. If the local community, local people, the residents also cooperate in it. So say there's a rubbish on the streets, there's the fly tipping in any shapes and forms, people putting mattresses outside, people leaving rubbish on the streets. If they cooperate with the system, then we will not have that fly tipping and the litter on the roads, because somebody is leaving it on the road. So that's where we need the partnership, that we need the cooperation from the local community. I work with many organizations. I go myself at least every 2 or 3 months. We have a day which we go around myself with my local councillors and other activists, picking up the rubbish, working with the local authority to say, you help us to clear the rubbish, we will pick it up for you.
On that note, that's change. That's Virendra Sharma, our candidate that has come here today to MATV to talk about his contribution to Ealing South Hall. We would like to say a warm thank you to you to come here to talk to us about your aspirations for Ealing South Hall. I hope you do well and hope to see you often again. On Rajniti, this is Darshini Joshi signing off. Thank you for watching Rajniti. Namaskar and have a wonderful evening.